If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Only the Cleveland Browns could turn a quarterback room into the NFL's most intriguing foreman standoff, and yet here we are. Training camp in Berea is buzzing, and while most teams struggle to find just one viable signal caller, the Browns somehow have four, all with legitimate arguments to start. The presumed leader is 40-year-old Joe Flacco, fresh off a surprise run that revived Cleveland's offense late in 2023. But behind him, the team has assembled a fascinating mix. Kenny Pickett, a 2021 first-round pick, still trying to prove he belongs. Shedeur Sanders, the headline-making son of Deion Sanders, who brings charisma and controversy in equal measure. And Dillon Gabriel, the 2025 third-round rookie, who's small in stature, but apparently big on perspective. This isn't a conventional battle. It's not even a three-horse race. It's a foreman stew with each QB bringing a different flavor. And according to Gabriel, that unique blend is actually helping the Browns not hurting them. In an NFL landscape obsessed with defined depth charts and clear-cut answers under center Cleveland's situation stands out like a sore thumb, or maybe like a live grenade. The concern naturally is that too many voices, too many egos, and too many arms could lead to dysfunction. That's not unreasonable. Quarterbacks aren't just players. They're leaders, each with his own approach to command. So how do you reconcile four different philosophies, four timelines, and four resumes? Enter Dillon Gabriel, the rookie with little to lose and everything to prove, who's framing this chaos as cohesion. Speaking to reporters at Browns training, Camp Gabriel emphasized the value of versatility in the room. You want to have versatility, he said. You have to look at it as a growth mindset, an ability not only to challenge one another, but challenge ourselves. It's the kind of answer that calms fears, or at least attempts to, when the outside world sees a quarterback circus brewing. What makes Gabriel's outlook particularly interesting is that he's not the only young guy in the room. This isn't a veteran versus rookie narrative or a rebuilding versus winnow dilemma. Instead, it's a genuinely strange mix of generations and pedigrees. Flacco brings the Super Bowl MVP aura, but he's on borrowed time. Pickett was once the face of a franchise in Pittsburgh, but never lived up to expectations. Sanders is a lightning rod, social media magnet, college superstar, and walking storyline. And then there's Gabriel, a dual threat QB from Oklahoma who didn't fit the mold physically, but got drafted because the Browns saw something in his processing and poise. That dynamic creates a petri dish of quarterback philosophies. And rather than retreat from the awkwardness, Gabriel leans into it. There's a bunch of guys that have different styles to their game, and you can learn from one another. He explains, subtly suggesting that competition here isn't about tearing each other down. It's about pushing everyone up. And it's hard not to appreciate the way Gabriel talks about the room, even if his spot on the depth chart is uncertain. He's third for now, ahead of Sanders, behind Flacco and Pickett, but nothing is set in stone. With weeks left until final roster decisions are made, that pecking order could shift on a dime. Yet Gabriel doesn't sound concerned. If anything, he's soaking up the environment. He's especially mindful of what Sanders brings to the table. Not just talent, but attention. He's had a life under a microscope for sure, and rightfully. So for what he's been able to do, Gabriel said, there's no bitterness there, no subtle jab. It's respect, plain and simple. And when Gabriel adds that he and Shedeur are going through similar times in our lives, it reveals a rare self-awareness. These guys are rookies. They're adapting to fame pressure and NFL scrutiny in real time. And they seem to know that the only way to survive that is together, not at each other's throats. Of course, none of this feel-good camaraderie guarantees a job come week one. Football is still a results-driven business, and no matter how united the quarterback room looks right, now someone is going to be the odd man out. The Browns aren't carrying four QBs into the season. Someone will be demoted, and someone could be gone entirely. That reality looms over every rep, every throw, and every media scrum. Gabriel isn't immune to that pressure, and while he's impressed with his maturity and poise, his actual on-field performance has been, well, up and down, according to reports. From Browns camp, Gabriel's numbers have been noticeably more uneven than those of Flacco, Pickett, or even Sanders. That's not exactly what you want to hear about a guy fighting for relevance in a crowded room. But it's also not unexpected. He's a rookie learning the NFL speed curve. His tape might not be pristine yet, but he's passing the intangibles test with flying colors. Still, there's a practical issue here. Size. Gabriel is not built like your traditional NFL quarterback. He's listed at 5'11" with a smaller frame and shorter arms than the prototype. That might not matter in the college game where space is more abundant and pockets are less claustrophobic. But in the NFL, every inch counts. Every fraction of a second matters, and every scout in America knows that smaller QBs have a thinner margin for error. That reality means Gabriel is fighting not just opponents, but physics. Still, the Browns saw enough in his film to spend a third rounder on him. That's not nothing. And if we're being honest, the NFL has been slowly shifting away from rigid quarterback molds. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, all have proved that undersized can still mean effective. For Gabriel, that precedent is both inspiring and necessary. He has to hope that versatility beats out height, at least in this quarterback room. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco looms large, both literally and figuratively, over this entire situation. The veteran didn't come back to hold a clipboard. He came back because he believes the Browns can win and because last season gave him a taste of something he thought was gone relevance. But as sharp as Flacco looked late last year, he's still 40. He's still a statue in the pocket. And even with his playoff experience, there's always the concern that the wheels could fall off suddenly. That's where the youth in the room becomes a lifeline. If Flacco falters or gets hurt, the Browns will need someone ready to step in. That's why this camp battle matters. It's not just ceremonial. Someone in that group, Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders, is going to see action this year. The only question is who can seize the moment before it's needed. And for now, the Browns seem content to let that question remain unanswered. Kenny Pickett is the enigma of the group. A former first-rounder who never quite clicked in Pittsburgh. He's hoping that a new environment and a less hostile fan base can reset his career. Reports from training camp say he's been sharp, even if not spectacular. His upside may be capped, but his floor might be higher than the rookies. That makes him a safety valve. Maybe not the exciting choice, but the logical one. Yet what's fascinating is how the Browns aren't treating this like a standard hierarchy. They're giving real reps to everyone. Sanders is taking snaps with the 2s and 3s. Gabriel's in the mix regularly. That suggests Cleveland is open-minded, or at least hedging its bets. Maybe they know Flacco won't last all 17 games. Maybe they see this as a bridge year. Or maybe, just maybe, they actually believe what Gabriel said, that the strength of the room lies in its versatility and in the ability of 4 very different men to build something together. As for Sanders, it's impossible to separate his name from the spotlight. He's Dayon's son, and that comes with everything. The swagger, the pressure, the critics, and the believers. His college tape flashes brilliance, but his transition to the pros is still in the early stages. What's clear is that he carries himself like someone born for this. He talks with confidence, practices with purpose, and draws more cameras than anyone not named Flacco. But he's also been quiet when it matters, not giving the media the clickbait it wants. That's probably by design. This isn't college anymore, and every soundbite can become a headline, and Sanders, for all his flash, appears to understand that. Gabriel's comments about him, respectful, honest, and empathetic, reflect a room that isn't just filled with talent, but with emotional intelligence. That might not win games in August, but it builds chemistry that lasts into December. And that's the part nobody's talking about. Ultimately, this Browns QB battle is less about who's better and more about who's ready. Gabriel might be raw, but he's mature. Pickett might be polished, but he's been through the ringer. Sanders is dynamic but unproven. Flacco is dependable but aging. Each has a different strength. Each has a different flaw. And the Browns are giving each the space to show who they are. That might seem chaotic from the outside, but inside the building is clearly by design. And it's working, at least for now. As Gabriel said, there's just so much to learn from one another. That sentence might define the Browns' approach this season. Instead of handing the keys to one driver and hoping for the best, they're loading the car with 4 and letting them figure out together who gets to steer. Will it work? Time will tell. But one thing's certain in a league desperate for Quarterback answers the Browns are asking a different question entirely. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. In what could easily be one of the most shocking twists of the NFL offseason, the rumor mill is spinning out of control with whispers that Odell Beckham Jr. may be making an unexpected return to the Cleveland Browns. Yes, you heard that right. The same Odell Beckham Jr. who left Cleveland under tense circumstances, the same Odell who many thought would never wear brown and orange again, might actually be coming back. And if you're thinking this is just another baseless internet fantasy, think again. Multiple unnamed sources close to the situation have hinted at serious discussions between OBJ's camp and the Browns front office. Social media detectives also noted a sudden spike in OBJ-related activity from Browns players. Likes, cryptic comments, and old throwback videos being reposted. Is this just nostalgia, or is there something bigger brewing behind the scenes in the Dawg Pound? Those who have followed the Browns closely over the past few seasons know just how complicated Beckham's first stint in Cleveland really was. It was a saga filled with hope, frustration, injuries, miscommunications, and ultimately a bitter end. But with time comes healing and perhaps perspective. OBJ's departure back in 2021 felt like the closing of a chapter, not just for him, but for the entire Browns organization. However, insiders say new head coach Ken Dorsey has a different outlook on player relationships and is eager to build a team not just based on stats, but chemistry. And here's where it gets interesting. Reports suggest Dorsey has already spoken with Beckham personally. Not as a recruiter per se, but as someone testing the waters of reconciliation. Could Dorsey be the bridge builder the Browns need to bring OBJ home? Fans in Cleveland are buzzing, wondering if this reunion is more than just smoke and mirrors. From a strategic standpoint, the potential return of Odell Beckham Jr. makes sense in ways it didn't before. The Browns receiving core has talent, no doubt, but it's lacking that spark. The kind of electric, unpredictable playmaking ability that Beckham brings when he's healthy and motivated. With Deshaun Watson entering a critical season where he must prove he's still elite, having a proven target like OBJ could be the missing puzzle piece. Several league analysts have pointed out that Cleveland's offensive setup under Dorsey could better accommodate a dynamic weapon like Beckham. Gone are the rigid structures of the past, replaced by more fluid schemes built around versatility and timing. If Beckham truly wants to remind the world of who he is, what better place than where he once struggled, under a system designed to highlight exactly what makes him special. Social media hasn't helped quiet the noise either. Beckham himself has been unusually active online when it comes to Cleveland-related content. Last week, he liked a post of himself in a Browns jersey. Then he commented under a throwback highlight of one of his signature one-handed catches in First Energy Stadium with a simple fire emoji. Coincidence? Maybe. But fans know OBJ doesn't post anything by accident. He's a calculated brand. Every tweet, every like, every comment is part of a bigger narrative. And if the goal is to tease a possible comeback, he's doing an exceptional job. Browns running back Nick Chubb also added fuel to the fire by posting a picture with OBJ on Instagram captioned, "Unfinished business." Whether this is friendly, banter, or an actual signal of something cooking behind the curtain, it's got the entire city of Cleveland talking. Let's not forget the money side of things though. OBJ is no longer commanding the mega contracts he once did, but that doesn't mean he's cheap. Capologists are already debating how the Browns could make this work. They'd likely need to restructure a couple of deals or cut bait with a mid-level player to free up the space required. However, Beckham is reportedly willing to play on an incentive-heavy contract, one that rewards him for production, playoff wins, and potentially a deep Super Bowl run. Now, this isn't the same OBJ who needed to be the highest-paid player in the locker room. This is a veteran championship-hungry OBJ who understands the stakes and might see Cleveland, ironically, as his best shot at legacy redemption. The front office hasn't confirmed anything yet, but sources close to the team claim that internal financial assessments regarding Beckham have already taken place. The locker room dynamic is also a crucial piece of this puzzle. OBJ's departure years ago reportedly fractured relationships within the team. especially between him and quarterback Baker Mayfield, but Mayfield is gone. The culture has shifted. New leaders have emerged, and some of Beckham's closest friends, like Myles Garrett and Chubb, remain influential voices in the building. Reports indicate that Garrett, in particular, has been actively pushing for Beckham's return behind closed doors. It's said he believes OBJ was misunderstood, that he's matured, and that he still has plenty left in the tank. Bringing him back wouldn't just be a headline move, it could send a message to the league that the Browns are no longer fractured, but united in chasing a championship. A healthy, focused Beckham might just be the emotional and strategic jolt the team needs heading into a make-or-break season. Then there's the fan base. Cleveland fans are passionate, loyal, and brutally honest. OBJ's time in the city was divisive, to say the least. Some loved him, others felt he never fully bought in. But time changes perspective, especially when a team hasn't been able to fully deliver since. Many fans are now expressing excitement, not resentment, at the thought of Beckham's return. You can feel it in the forums, the group chats, and the tailgate talk. It's no longer about ego, it's about legacy. And in a league built on redemption stories, this could be the most compelling one yet. Can you imagine the atmosphere in that stadium if OBJ walked onto the field in week 1 wearing Thesher 13 again? The roof would metaphorically blow off. The city, the team, and the player all have something to prove. And if aligned correctly, that hunger could be the exact fuel they all need. Critics will of course raise valid concerns. OBJ's injury history is well documented. His age isn't ideal for a deep threat receiver. And the mental side, handling pressure, managing expectations, integrating smoothly, is still a question mark. But Beckham has shown glimpses of his old self in recent years. While with the Rams, he was crucial in their playoff run, scoring in the Super Bowl before his injury. He's still capable of those game-changing moments. And in the NFL, sometimes that one play is all you need. If Cleveland is willing to bet on that flash of brilliance, they might find themselves with a rejuvenated star who finally feels at home. Plus, if the deal is structured smartly, the risk is minimal compared to the potential upside. It's a low-risk, high-reward gamble that just might pay off in a big way. What's perhaps most poetic about this potential reunion is the storyline it creates. A player once seen as a misfit, returning to the city where he never quite fit in, now potentially becoming the hero that delivers long-awaited playoff success. It's cinematic. A career full of ups and downs could come full circle in the most unexpected way. Think about the interviews, the documentaries, the legacy reframe. It's all there for the taking. And if OBJ wants to be remembered not just as a flashy receiver, but as someone who overcame chaos and delivered when it mattered most, Cleveland might be the place where that chapter gets written. Whether or not the deal actually happens remains to be seen. But make no mistake, the whispers are growing louder. And where there's smoke, in the NFL, there's almost always fire. So now, all eyes are on the Browns front office. Will they make the move? Will OBJ put pen to paper and shock the league once again? Or is this just another off-season tease, a mirage in the NFL desert of rumors? No one knows for sure, but the energy surrounding this possibility is real. Fans, analysts, and even rival players are watching closely. If Odell Beckham Jr. truly wants to rewrite his story, this could be the moment. And if Cleveland wants to prove they're all in on contending, this might be the gamble that takes them over the top. One thing's for certain, the next few weeks could redefine everything. Stay tuned, this story is far from over. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!